is Helen, and today I'm being joined by my friend Raymond. Finally. After teasing about this for like...
a month?
Almost 2 months. And today we are going to talk about Avalon by Mindee Arnett. First part of this video is going to be non-spoilers. We're just going to talk about our general feelings about the book, whether or not we liked it, we're going to give it our star rating, all that fun stuff, and then we will move into a spoilery discussion, and we will warn you guys before that happens so that if you do not wish to be spoiled, you can leave. Spoiled? We will let you know before that happens in case you don't want to be spoiled, and then you can go and read the book and come back and discuss it with us, because we will both be in the comments down below ready to discuss this book with you. Okay.
That's what I was going for.
So general thoughts. I'll let you kick this one off.
Thanks, Helen.
How'd you feel about this?
I didn't have really any expectations for this book. I hadn't heard any of the fanfare before it, so I read it from a totally...
Was going into it blind.
I wouldn't say I was blindsided, because it wasn't a very powerful book, but we'll get into that later. Overall, it was a teen book, and we all know what teen books mean, and they have their aspects and their interesting parts and their flaws, but also their benefits. So I'll say, overall, not a bad book. I didn't have any expectations, so it was, I'd say, vaguely interesting.
Yes. Did you enjoy your time reading it?
Yes, I read it in a couple days.
So my basic thoughts on the book are definitely that it was a fun space adventure. That was the premise of the book, more or less. It's just that it's a fun space adventure that has a heist, and that is definitely what it was from beginning to end.
It's true.
Definitely, like, it was not falsely advertised in that sense. It is, as Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey says, it's Fast and Furious in space. It's definitely a book version of Firefly. Like, very similar. So it was definitely a fun read. I went into it knowing some of the hype, but I didn't quite like it as much as some people, and I didn't dislike it as much as some people. For me, it ended up being kind of like a middle-of-the-row, enjoyable book, but nothing spectacular. So how did you feel about the writing in particular?
It was well polished. I enjoyed it. It was interesting. It was engaging. The content's where I had most of my issues, but the writing itself was, I'd say, quite well done.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt, because I was like, there are parts of it that are predictable, as we discussed earlier.
Yes.
There are parts of it that are very predictable. Like, it doesn't have an overly original story arc or plot twists that go where you're not expecting it to go, but the writing draws you in and makes you want to keep reading it. Like, it doesn't, you don't get like 50 pages into it be like, okay, I really don't care right now and want to put it down. It's kind of like, well, I want to get to what happens next.
Maybe frustrated for large portions of the book, but you won't put it down. You'll just you'll be like, it's better.
What would you give this book out of 5 stars?
I'd give it 2.
So it was okay?
It was okay. It was a 2.
It was a 2? I ended up giving it about a 3.5 because I liked it. I liked it, and I liked the last half of it a lot more than I liked the first half.
I would disagree. I mean,
you're the
I liked the beginning.
The thing I liked about the second half was that was where like most of the action kind of came into play. So I was like, okay, this is where like all the stuff that we were hinted at in the beginning is coming into play. Me, it made up for like the build up of the first half, because the first half for me was like setting everything up, which was interesting as all hell.
Well, I enjoyed that setup.
Yeah, it was definitely a good setup. Like, she did a spectacular job with that. And then just for me, like, the getting the payoff for that build-up was what kind of boosted it for me.
Okay, well, I see it as the setup was very well done, but the execution was a bit lacking and leaving you with wanting more.
Just for fun, if you were to give this book a grade, what would you give it?
Well, as a teen novel, I'd give it a C+, but if it was going to be on my bookshelf, it would be a D, so it would not be on my bookshelf.
Fair enough. I agree, actually, with your grade. So even though I rated it like 3.5 stars because I enjoyed my time reading it and I found it to be that enjoyable book, overall, C+ seemed about right because it was average, middle of the road.
It did its job.
It did, yeah, exactly.
But
it did its job. It did satisfactory work, but it didn't excel. That's going to be the end of the non-spoilery section. So for those of you who do not wish to be spoiled, you should probably leave so that you can go and read this book and enjoy it and have fun reading it without us like totally ruining everything for you, because we're probably going to do that.
And it is fun. I would encourage you to read it.
It's definitely worth the read. Go read it. Go have fun reading it. Then come back and discuss it with us in the comments down below. Bye! That I have now for the spoilery discussion. What did you think of Hammer as a villain?
Hammer. Stereotypical.
Yeah.
Not very original. Most villains the way they try to build them up is that they make them distant and far, and you never get to know what's going on in their head. I think that's a fault with this book. And in some books it does work. You don't know, and you're kind of like, oh, it's a mystery. But in this book, I think you get so far away from him, you don't know who he is or what he is. And I just think he's the pure evil figure.
He's a classic example of just like the evil overlord that we don't have a sense of why he's evil. So like, for example, the end of the book with the plot twist with him and Renford seems more out of the blue than an actual plot twist.
Yeah. Because
we don't get to see any hints to his character having that kind of thing going on, even though it is something he would do.
You know he could do it, but it just it's a bad trick to just pull it out there. Not very satisfying.
Having this group of teens who's worked for him for as long as they have, you would think that you would get a little bit more of a sense of who he is other than
pure evil.
Oh, this is a fun one for you.
Uh-oh.
Did we see Dax's betrayal coming?
Well,
I should find the text message.
So, during the reading of the book, Helen had already finished, and I was in the middle of it. And I would give her updates through texts just to show where I was, what I was thinking. And I had quite an opinion of Dax. I expected a lot from him.
You did. I think that's a fair assessment.
I think I grew attracted to him as a character.
Yeah.
Which is dangerous in a teen fiction.
The text you sent me about Dax was, I trust Dax.
There you go.
Could be a poor decision, but I do. Dax be the mature one and start laying down the law. And then, damned Dax.
I think that sums it up.
Perfect description of your journey with Dax. Just like, I trust him. Why isn't he killing people? Come on! She wanted us to trust him. She wanted us to be like, you know what, he's gotta be a good guy. I have to trust him.
After reading the book, we should have known that it was a double take. We should have known.
Thoughts on Jeth's mother being alive?
Disappointed. So disappointed. Never have been, like, I'm not a cold guy. I'm really not.
He's not. I promise you.
But I was sad when I found out she was alive, because now they have to save her. She has so much like brain damage and psychological damage and emotional damage. How are you gonna save her? And I'm nothing against saving her, but that better take up half the book, and that's not very interesting.
The first half can be them like planning a heist.
But that's too long to
plan.
But
yeah, exactly. But it can't be 150 pages of planning a heist.
No. Well, let's throw into the discussion of book 2. Do you see there, if you look along the first one, there were numerous heists.
A lot of little heists going on within the overall arcing heist.
There we go! Please respond to your own question.
And mine's pretty quick anyway, because I agree with you on a lot of fronts. I think that, see why she did it, because it was meant to be another like little plot twist throughout the book, that the mom is still alive. And it was something that part of me saw coming, because it was like, the way that things went down with them with the ITA it didn't feel right. So it's like, okay, at least one of them is alive. So finding out that she's basically trapped and being experimented on was not what I wanted anything like to happen there. It would have been far more satisfying as a human to know that she was dead and not suffering than to know that she's in there and being tortured. Lots of kind of thoughts there, but the general consensus is we're both kind of upset that she's alive. Thoughts on Cora being Jeth's sister?
Not impressed. There wasn't any logical reason for it. It just fell down and was like, welcome, world. It worked out so well, and it's just a cheap response. I kind of agree, because like there was a part of me that was like, okay, I get why you were trying to do it, because it makes this another dynamic within the book, right? And especially between Jeth and Cora, because he already had a bit of a relationship forming with her. Like, he got along with her really, really well. And was kind of starting to think of her like the little sister on the ship. And then it was like, oh, by the way, she's actually your little sister. On the note of Cora, though, both of us called her being the source of the holes on the Dunrail. So, again, he sent me texts. One of the first ones you sent me where you were like, so an update on where I am. Yes.
Cora totally is the cause for all the holes. And then I was saying earlier, as soon as she was on that ship, I had this kind of feeling where it was like, there's something off about you. But I also really enjoyed her.
She wasn't a bad character.
She definitely wasn't. Like, she's actually one of the more well-rounded characters in the story, which is funny because she's like 6.
But at least she's consistent.
She is. She's consistent. She actually has a personality within it. Like, she's a very trusting individual, but it does take her a little bit of time to warm up to you.
Which is the appeal to it.
Yeah, and the fact that, you know, she's that kind of person and she warms up to the main character, that's kind of what made their relationship special. She was one of my favorite characters, actually. I liked her and I liked Milton.
I was a Dax fan until whatever page that was.
I'm sorry you had to deal with that betrayal. So the last question that I have now for the lovely Raymond. Do you want to read the sequel?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. And like I said before, critical, sure, but it was interesting. It was enjoyable. I'm curious, maybe I'm a bit skeptical of what the next book's going to be, but I want to know, do I have full rights to hate this next book because it sucked? Or do I have to be like, well, you know what?
It was still enjoyable. And
yeah.
It made for a fun read, yeah. That's kind of where I'm sitting too, because it was one of those, like, I knew there was a sequel going into it, but I didn't know what the sequel was going to be. So finding out what it was kind of made me a little bit more skeptical about it.
Yeah.
But because I've heard so many good things about it, it makes me think that it's going to be still fun to read. So I'm willing to read it and have the fun reading it and see how it goes. I do want to pick it up. I want to see where it's actually going to go. I want to see how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
We both agree that we want to see what happens in the next book. We both want to read it. So that is our general thoughts and feelings and opinions on Avalon by Mindee Arnett. So have you guys read this book? If so, you should leave some comments down below. You should talk to both of us because he's usually trolling the comments of my videos, and I'm gonna be there anyway. I do respond to every comment on my videos, and I absolutely love hearing from you. And hopefully we will see you soon with a review of Polaris.
Yes.
And otherwise, I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!